My guest today is Ghazaleh Lyari, a successful investment banker who ditched the corporate world in 2008 to establish Ghermez Cupcakes, a premium cupcake brand here in Australia. She has 3 stores, which she's opened up over the last 2 years. Hi and welcome to In Her Shoes. Thank you for joining us.
Good to be here.
You have a background with IBM, Deutsche Bank, JP Morgan, Citigroup, big organisations, and now here you are in your own business. What inspired that move?
Starting my own business has always been in my plans. It has been the what and the when that I had to determine. I remember in all the years that I worked as an investment banker, either on Wall Street or in Silicon Valley, I worked with a number of tech startups, a number of companies that were private, and I helped them in the process of going public. And I worked with a lot of companies in an advisory role when they were looking at acquisition opportunities. And I distinctly remember that I was far more interested in the job of the guy who was running the business than the job of the head of my business, who was probably earning about 5 times more than the CEO at the time. And the reason for that was that I was always more intrigued in being part of the action instead of being on the sidelines and watching them.
What skills have best equipped you to run your business that you got from being a career woman?
I think a couple of things. I gained a lot of confidence in making a lot of mistakes on somebody else's money. And I'm just being purely honest with you. I say that with a lot of young people, young men and women who talk to me about wanting to start their own businesses. And I always tell them, for every young college dropout like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or people like them who have been tremendously successful and have changed the way we live our lives, there are hundreds of thousands who haven't been. So I would look at those as exceptions, and I always encourage younger people to gain experience by joining other businesses, preferably businesses that are going to be in line with what they eventually want to do themselves, and learn from others who've gone down the track many times before. You might end up just choosing to do things differently, your own way. But at the end of the day, there is no substitute for experience. So I think after 16 years of being in the corporate world, I really reached the point that I felt like even though there is a lot more that I can still learn, I felt a lot more confident just going out on my own and doing things by myself.
You've very bravely gone into the world of retail, and at a time where we're hearing a lot of retailers say people just aren't buying, there's a lack of sales, there's a lack of business, you're growing. So what makes your business different?
So we're growing, I think, for 2 reasons. One is that it's a product that is an affordable luxury indulgence. And again, as you can see from historically, businesses like pizza businesses, fast food businesses, cinemas, they have done really well in recessionary times. So I think it's a very similar story in ours. It doesn't break the bank to pay $3.80 for a cupcake or $40 for a dozen of them. And it's just something that momentarily makes you feel good. So it's the fact that it is an affordable indulgence, as I mentioned. And the other thing is that I have been fortunate enough that I've saved my money. I've put all of my life savings into growing this business, and I have opened more stores. So part of the growth is the additional stores that we've opened up. As you can see, we've got about 120% year-over-year growth. And it's not just 120% within the same store. It's mostly because we've had additional stores as well.
With a bricks and mortar business, a retail outlet, what role does online marketing play in driving business to those stores?
Online channel is just the most attractive part of my business, I have to tell you, because I don't pay rent to bring in those customers, and the cost of running that channel is far lower than our bricks and mortar operations. And we introduced our online business for maybe about 10 months ago, and it has been growing over and over, month by month. And it is a very critical part of our marketing strategy, something that I personally spend a lot of time on. I try to utilize social media to kind of beef up the online channel as well.
As you look to grow your business, being in the area of cupcakes, it's been an area we've seen more and more people eating cupcakes over the last few years. But as you look to grow, do you feel like we might get cupcake fatigue, or how do you look at growth in a business that could perhaps be seen to be here and now?
Sure. And I gave it a lot of thought in terms of whether this is a fad, it's one of those things that just come and go. And when you think about the fundamentals of this very much of a commodity kind of product, it's no different to the traditional cake. The only thing that's different about it is that it's pre-portioned. So the way it's packaged is different. We use the same exact recipe that we use for a traditional cake. So, and cakes have been a part of our lives for centuries. We use them in all kinds of celebratory occasions across cultures. It is, it's something that is used across the world for celebratory occasions. So no one really questions whether we're going to need cakes in the next 50 years, but people do question whether we're going to use cupcakes. So I have a sense of comfort that they're here to stay, and people are getting more and more savvy about making it far more personal and making the consumer feel like this is, I'm designing something for entertaining in my home or giving it as a gift. That's very much my own product because of the personalization options that we particularly offer. So, and they also have an additional benefit of offering flavor choice. When you buy a single cake, you're only, stuck with your chocolate cake. Whereas when you buy a dozen cupcakes, you have 12 different flavors. So maybe I'm naive, but I've thought about it a lot. And I think if cakes are going to go out of business, then cupcakes are going to go out of business. So I think we're here to stay for a while.
You think you're here to stay. Very quickly, you're a startup. You've been a businesswoman for a long time, but as your own boss, it's only been a few years. So what advice would you be giving other startups based on what you've learned?
Okay, well, I'm not quite sure if I would frame it as advice, but I can share with you what my guiding principles are and have been and continue to be in every decision that I make. I think it's really important, whether you're offering a service or a product, to be really clear about what differentiates you from others. I've seen lots of Me Too strategies come and go. I am very clear about our key differentiating factors from a competitive perspective, and every single one of my staff is. And that is, you can experience that in your interaction with anyone in our business. The second thing is, I think it's really important to always keep in mind who your target market is. We have a very diverse set of people who buy from us, but we are very clear about who we're marketing to. You can't be everything to everybody, so it's important to kind of stick to your knitting and focus on your target market. And the last thing I would say is something that I practice on a daily basis. I go through this honest process of looking at my own personal weaknesses and strengths, mainly because I need to find out where it is that I need help and try to seek it out on time. And it's something that's difficult. It's easier said than done. And my husband, thank God, helps me with his brutal honesty to point out what it is that I don't know, so I need to go get help.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.